well, the thought that you're born and you just degenerate from there, right? And things happen to you. There's nothing that you can do, right? You're just a victim of circumstance.
Robert, how did you find Carnivore?
Dave, awesome question. Before I begin, I would like to thank you for the opportunity that you've created to create this platform for the world to share their carnivore stories. I truly enjoy sharing my carnivore story with everyone that I meet. Sometimes I bore them to tears with it. So, fair warning to everyone. I'm currently 48 hours into a 72-hour fast, so I've got a bit of a buzz going. My ketones are at 4.0, and my fasting blood sugar is currently around about 80. So, I would also like to briefly mention that I'm fully aware that I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here. The kind folk and the good doctors who have put their reputations on the line to spread the word of this wonderful lifestyle diet that we've all come to appreciate and love, the carnivore diet. So, on to my story and how I came to carnivore. I think I'll start with where I'm at right now, and then I'll just jump back in time and work the story from there. I found myself in upstate New York, in Orange County. So this is also an open invitation for anybody that is wanting to become keto buddies or carnivore buddies. They can reach out, and I'm sure we'll put the information in the show notes. As far as sizes and dimensions are concerned, I'm 5'11", and currently I'm at around about 183 pounds, down from an embarrassing 240 pounds about a year and a half ago. Naturally, as everyone else on this channel has testified, I've come to the party with a litany of health issues: brain fog, fatigue, malaise, inability to even want to exercise, and also a clinical diagnosis of generalized anxiety and depression, and recently prediabetes as well. I am happy to report that currently I'm in remission, or even better yet, I'm cured of those ailments due to my diet. So today, I'm happy to say that I'm living a different life. To quote Dr. Christopher Palmer, I am a happy, peppy person. So, jumping to the beginning, I was born and raised in South Africa. Just thought I'd bring that point up so folks know where the accent is from. Generally, a healthy kid, no real concerns. So, jumping forward to when I started working, my first job was with the pharmaceutical manufacturing company. We worked with hormones and steroids, so it was a requirement to be regularly tested, annually tested. So a full blood test was required, which means that if there was ever going to be any early detection of any ailments, it was going to be at a very young age. And yes, they did detect something. Very early on, my doctors reported that I was suffering from deteriorating liver condition, which came as much of a surprise to me because generally I was healthy at that stage. And coupled with the deteriorating liver was increasing blood pressure year over year. So their initial thoughts was, due to my age and maybe I had a bit of a reputation as well, was that it was alcohol related. I quickly dispelled that by explaining to them that, yes, you would find me at the checkout with a six-pack, but I would drink one beer and get drunk and then give the other five away. So the diagnosis changed from alcohol-related liver disease to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. At that time, I didn't know much about diet. I didn't know about carbohydrates. I didn't know about fructose. I didn't know what I thought fruit juice was healthy. I thought it was nectar from the gods. So also, I wasn't given much any tools or any information. It was just a case of, you have this disease, it's going to get progressively worse, and live with it. So I felt disempowered to make a change in my life. So it was somewhat of an acceptance to just continue. It was steadily getting worse. I don't want to blame anyone other than myself. What I did is entirely my fault. I was uninformed. I didn't know what to do, so I just carried on. Then, as the disease progressed through my 20s and 30s, um, it coupled with that was the other health problems, as I mentioned, was the brain fog, the fatigue. So I recall living a life that you would have a conversation with somebody on one day, and the next day they would have to remind you what you discussed with them, which was terrible for someone in their 20s to go through, right? But that was life as I knew it. I did try some conventional diets and exercises as they were kind of promoted, but nothing ever moved the needle. And when something doesn't move the needle, I lose interest. So we we close to my current timeline. So explaining when I joined keto or how I joined keto, I'm reluctant to call out any one particular influencer or YouTuber to say, because it was a mix. It was a blur. The way the algorithm works, you research something and 1,000 other things pop up. What I do recall vividly, though, is in 2022, I tried a very expensive meal replacement shake, a protein shake, 100% plant based. So, what I recall from that is it's in the US, it's sold as a superfood, right? So, they extract the best of the best out of everything. And this is meant to sustain you for 4 to 6 hours. What I vividly recollect was I know the feeling of angry, hungry, angry. This was worse than that. I was ravenous within an hour of consuming this. So I was dumb enough to continue using this for 6 months, but it sparked something in me. So I don't see it as, time wasted or money wasted. It sparked that desire to understand why it wasn't doing what it should be doing for me. So this chapter of my life, I call this chapter coincidences. Coincidentally, in early 2023, that would have been winter in the northern hemisphere. I was researching outdoor wood burning boilers, and I stumbled across a YouTube channel, Homestead How, run by Kerry Mann. So we probably all know him well, and I enjoyed his video very much, showing how this little wood boiler could basically heat every single dwelling on his property. And I was so taken by this, I was interested in how much it cost, the difficulty to install something like this. So I scrolled back a few videos, and I was completely confused, because here was Kerry Man, and he didn't look the same. It was two different people, right? So quickly I figured out that it was Carnivore, and then the YouTube algorithm went into overdrive, and it served up the Dr. Berries, the Dr. Boz's, the Dr. Bakers, Dr. Chaffee's. They're all in there, right? And I consumed all of that content voraciously. And I then began with keto. So you're probably saying, why keto? Why not carnivore? When you've seen both, you've experienced both. My problem was I had to be able to introduce this into sort of a family type routine, a normal family routine. So at dinner, just carnivore seemed to be a bit extreme to sell to the family. So I decided to do the keto route first, see how that panned out. Unfortunately, it really didn't matter which one I chose, because my lifestyle intervention, as I call it, it wasn't understood or appreciated by my family. So this is not something that I've seen elsewhere. Typically, when someone shares the keto story or the carnivore story, it's either partners do it together, and maybe one drops off and the other one continues. But what I experienced was very foreign, very unexpected. That it's kind of like was ridiculed and mocked about my choice, and even to this day, I'm considered to be the outcast or the weird guy with this weird lifestyle diet, even though the results, are plain to see, which is it's a bit disheartening. I just thought I'd mention it because maybe somebody else will go through the same emotions at some point. So this part of my story, I consider to be a bit of a cliffhanger. Um, I promise it's the only cliffhanger in my story. The rest is fairly straight up and down. It does for me personally, however, it creates space for a sequel, something which I'm equally excited about. So I continued on the keto journey. I refined it. I tweaked it. There's a bit of seasonality to it as well. So in winter, you spend less time outdoors, so you're not grilling as much. So winter is bacon and eggs is my staple, or something with mince. In summer, I'm grilling a lot. I do want to add that I work from home, so it's relatively easy for me to prepare meals as I need to, and it would be more challenging in an office environment. I would just say, just don't be the guy who brings a raw fish to the office and cooks it in the office microwave. But for the rest, I think you could prepare meals and heat them up, or so you could do either keto or carnivore in an office type environment. Shouldn't be a problem. I have beef jerky on hand or sardines if I want a snack. Shout out to Dr. Buzz. But I don't have that need. I'm quite comfortable doing OMAD. This is the first time I'm doing a 72-hour fast. Usually I do intermittent fasting, which is just maybe like a 12-hour stretch. So the beauty of, well, now I'm on carnivore. So the beauty of the carnivore is that you just don't have those cravings, right? I would also want to add that I make my own yogurt, which isn't really carnivore. I think that would be, I'm sort of flitting between keto and carnivore currently. More on the carnivore side, so let's say 80-20. So the yogurt that I make at home, I'm following Dr. William Davis's recipe. He uses Lactobacillus reuteri, which is, it's known as the love bug, right? And as it produces oxytocin, it's stunning. It ferments for 40 hours. So I believe that pretty much most of the carbs have been processed or consumed. So it's probably way healthier than anything that's store bought. So 2024 I consider to be my keto year. And 2025 is when I crossed over into carnivore. Now, it wasn't really anything that I did consciously, but what happened was my body was craving fat. So I knew that I had to change something. And so now when I look at a slice of bacon, it just looks so perfect. The ratio of fat to protein just looks perfect to me. So from a routine point of view, when I wake up in the mornings, I have a cup of coffee or maybe two with a quarter stick of butter. So it's a sizable chunk of butter and a bit of cream. And I find that satiates me till noon, no problem. So that's awesome. Generally, I don't eat anything after sunset, so my eating window is fairly condensed. And of course, these are not hard and fast rules. I do adapt. So in a social type situation, if you see me at a steakhouse somewhere, of course there'll be a sirloin or ribeye on my plate. I don't mind if there's a small side of maybe mushrooms or asparagus or something. So you have to be adaptable. Instead of saying, no, I'm only going to be eating this, that's going to, obviously, you're going to get a lot of resentment or a lot of resistance kicked up from that. I also want to be mindful of the fact that I'm still in what I call sort of a fat drawdown period. So I still have energy stores that I'm consuming or eating into. So I think my diet may change as I reach my goal weight of around about 175 pounds. But I now have tools, that's the very exciting thing for me. Previously, when I was carbohydrate fueled, there were no tools. There was nothing that was effective. Now I have tools, which means every phase that I enter into, I'm excited about it. It's whether it's a challenge or whether it's easy, I'm excited about it. I'm ready, willing to take on those challenges. Another positive knock-on effect has been improved sleep. I cannot begin to explain the change in my sleep patterns or sleep behavior. I used to lie in bed for an hour just trying to fall asleep. And I like to ruminate a bit on the day or maybe think about the future. The sad part about it is I don't have that opportunity anymore. When my head hits the pillow, within 5 minutes, I'm in dreamland. I'm asleep. I've actually forcefully tried to stay awake because I wanted to think about something. I just fell asleep. I cannot help it. I just fall asleep. I wake up the next morning between 4 and 5 a.m. I am awake, I'm energized, and I'm ready for the day. And that's every day of the week. It's unbelievable the amount of energy that I have. I've never experienced this in my life. So I've also started running again. I ran when I was much, much younger. But I've never, even then, even if I compare myself to when I was 20, I have so much more energy. I have a favorite trail here close by. It's about 20 miles out and 20 miles back. I'm not running 40 miles yet. I'm still building up to that. But the other day I wanted to go for a run and it was iced over, so I had to find a different place to run. And I found a sort of a loop track that was a mile. I ran 12 loops. I ran 12 miles. And the only reason why I stopped is because I got bored. I got bored of seeing the same scenery. So for me to be able to just run 12 miles and feel nothing and just feel like I can continue, that's not, I've never had that kind of energy before in my life. So I actually feel like I'm aging in reverse. That's the emotion that I'm feeling. And some may say, well, this man is having a midlife crisis. Well, I'm not in my midlife anymore. I'm slightly beyond my midlife. Unless, of course, I plan on reaching some biblical age, then I'm not even in my midlife yet, right? So enough about the anecdotal kind of tales. I'm sure most people want to know, show me the numbers. Show me, the blood numbers. Unfortunately, I've been in the US for 10 years now, and I've avoided seeing a doctor. Because I know that the first thing that they do, well, 2 years ago, they would have put me on a cocktail of drugs. I just know it, with the ailments I had. So I'm probably ready to go and see a doctor now and have my blood tested. What I do is I take my own blood pressure at home because over the years I've discovered that that's an important metric. My last reading was 100/60. This is
Wow.
coming from somebody who used to regularly run at 160/120. I have never seen a number that low in my life.
Do you ever feel lightheaded or?
No, never.
Wow.
Even standing up abruptly, I've never felt any giddiness or anything like that at all.
So, and also because you haven't had any blood tests yet, you're not sure what the status of your liver is at the moment?
No, I'm not.
But feeling wise, it's pointing in a positive direction, right?
Correct. So my takeaway from what I've read, there's Dr. Palmer and Professor Ben Bickman. Your body is in an adequate situation where it can heal itself if you allow. So for me, the combination is high ketones and low inflammation. You give your body that, you're giving it all the tools to repair itself. The reason why I'm doing the fast now is to get into autophagy, right? The body just repairs itself.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, we cut ourselves on the knee, we scrape our elbow or something, and you literally watch it. You can watch it heal, over a period of hours or days. and we kind of miss the point that that probably happens internally as well if we're not poisoning ourselves.
Correct.
And
That,
yeah,
and
it's
the liver is one of those organs that can regenerate itself. It's a thing of beauty.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've spoken to quite a lot of people that have corrected fatty liver disease, and someone had pretty severe fibrosis, and
Mm.
it's gone
Yeah. Yeah.
just by eating correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, as well as the blood pressure, I'm also wearing a CGM, continuous glucose monitor. I've been wearing it for 6 months, which is so the beauty is I can see the trends, right? I can see the changes. So my nighttime readings are around about 80, and I wake up in the morning. I don't see a massive dawn effect. It goes up to 90 or 100, where previously it was 120 when I woke up in the morning, right? Hence the pre-diabetic condition or diagnosis. So I just see everything is just repairing itself. And with the CGM, the amazing thing that I witnessed is the response to exercise. So there's a process, gluconeogenesis. When your body needs glucose, it can generate it itself, right? It does. You don't have to get it from dietary sources. So what I notice is when I start running, sprinting, doing intensive exercise, it shoots up. It shoots up straight line from 100 to 150 because my body needs it, right? And it consumes it straight away. And the moment I stop exercising, it drops right back down. And 6 months ago, when I was doing that, when it dropped back down, there was a little bit of an oscillation, a bounce, as it's trying to figure out the new set point, sort of undershoots, overshoots, undershoots, overshoots. Now it just comes back down straight away to where it needs to be, which tells me that there's a control mechanism inside my body that's just behaving. It's working more effectively. It understands how to work with what it's being given.
It's so nice to be in a situation where you don't just feel like your body is against you and it's all out of my hands. You're actually in
Correct.
control and you can actually see things happening.
Correct. That's how I lived most of my life. As I lived with, well, the thought that you're born and you just degenerate from there, right? And things happen to you. There's nothing that you can do, right? You're just a victim of circumstance. Whereas now my life is fully in my control, right? And the
Yeah.
amazing thing is when you transition across to carnivore, keto, the fact that you don't have those carbohydrate cravings anymore, it's just so amazing. It's the way it's meant to be.
Right. And it's like one of those things that we just think is normal about ourselves. And until those cravings are gone, you don't realize, and you've never stopped to think, oh, yeah, this is how other species just like go about their day. That's why, like we're the only ones that look broken. It's because we've been actively breaking ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You you,
Um,
you don't see many overweight zebras and gazelles on the savannah, right?
well, that's right. I mean, I always think if you had an alien come to Earth and before they, as part of their Earth orientation, you showed them pictures of species on Earth and you showed them like a row of gazelles, a row of zebras, a row of lions, a row of tigers, a row of elephants, right? And they
Yeah.
looked at all those and they're identifying, oh, yes, they're animals. That's what species they are. And then you show them a row of humans
Yeah.
and they would instantly look at that and go, oh, yeah, they're the sick ones.
Yeah.
I can tell because none of us look the same. We're all different shapes and sizes and levels of impairment. And yeah,
Yeah, it's very evident if you look at any of those old photos from the 70s, any crowd photos from the 70s, everyone's healthy, right? Roll forward a couple of decades and everyone's unhealthy.
yeah, it's strange. When I look back, when I was in like junior high school, And looking back at photos in the 80s when we were at the beach or whatever, no one looked fat. No one
Yeah,
looked
yeah,
sick.
yeah,
Everyone's just it's just like everyone looks normal. And it's not like that anymore.
yeah. I'll
So,
never go back. There's just
mm,
no cravings. One of my hobbies is even what I really enjoy doing is on an empty stomach. So maybe waking up in the morning, coming out of a fast, 12-hour fast, I'll go to the store and I will take the cart and I'll go up and down the aisles, tempting myself to see, because I know what impulse purchases are, right? I've done that before. In my carbohydrate fuel days, I've gone to the store and the cart is just filling up because the impulse to just take something because the triggers are there, right? I do that now. I feel nothing. I feel absolutely nothing, which is amazing. And that's only because my body doesn't have any cravings. My mitochondria are happy. They are fueled. They're doing what they need to do, which is phenomenal.
so you're going to stick with this. Have you had any friends around you kind of inquire about it and wonder why you don't eat as often as you used to?
I have. It's the typical type response where I work from home, so folks don't see me much other than on camera. But when I do go into a facility, one of our offices, and folks see me, they do comment on the weight loss. I mean, obviously it's visible now, right? And then they're curious. I explain it to them, and disappointingly, they'll say, "But what about your cholesterol?" And the immediate response is, "Dude, your brain consists 80% of cholesterol. What are you talking about?" So they're all concerned, but obviously concerned because of the mainstream narrative, right? That's what everybody is espousing. So I would get a lot of joy out of it if I were be able to convert somebody, and that's probably also the reason why I'm on your channel, right? I'm I would love to share what I'm experiencing. The energy. I just if I could draw it out and sell it, I would do it. It's unbelievable. I've never felt this in my life before.
I think one of the problems when people see carnivores or talk to carnivores, what they don't understand and what they can never understand unless they try it is your whole perspective shifts. Everything changes. Your relationship with food changes. Um, just the way you go about your whole day changes because the fundamental parts of the way you've lived your whole life change, right? Like we talked
Precisely.
about the cravings and all that kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
when that goes away and it's replaced by basically unlimited energy and not having to think about food at all during the day, like everything changes in your life, right?
Exactly. And I'd also like to just touch on the emotions that I'm feeling, right? When I first did the keto, when I transitioned into keto, and I started seeing the benefits of it, and my health started changing. There was a brief period, a very brief period, where there was, call it frustration and a little bit of anger, only discovering this so late in my life. But that quickly dwindled. It actually just disappeared, and it was kind of replaced with gratitude, with love, joy, just love for the universe, for everything. It was just unbelievable, and that's sustained. It's been with me for 2 years. I don't know where it's coming from. I don't understand it. I would say it's atypical to me, but I would have to add that it's atypical to the old me, right? It's part of the new me. It's Everything has changed just because of this abundance of energy, right? That I have.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. Robert, if people want to reach out to you, how can they get in contact? Do you have any social media?
Unfortunately, I don't. I'm pretty old school in that sense. But I'll share my contact information, my email address with you, Dave, and you can put it into the show notes. I'm People are welcome to reach out to me on the email. I don't have a story to tell in the sense that I have a channel in social media. But yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I'll include your email in the show notes. Robert, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Dave, you're most welcome. And thank you for providing this platform. I really hope my message inspires somebody out there.